Hello. Today we are talking about turnarounds at refineries. I am joined by LaDon Smith, who has almost a decade of experience with turnarounds. LaDon, thanks for talking today.
Thanks for having me, Kurt. Appreciate the opportunity.
Well, let's start with a high-level rundown of turnarounds. Can you give us a quick overview?
I'm sure most people are aware of, but a shutdown turnaround is a shutdown situation where the unit or the refinery parts or pieces of it get totally shut down, so they can do maintenance, repair, or reconstruction. It's an expensive event, and not only it's costly to do the upgrades of the units, but it's also the expense of having the unit down. It's real costly. So it's an important project and an exercise. So.
The first time you and I ever spoke, you told me about huge cost savings you and your team were able to unlock for a customer. How much were you able to save for them, and how did you do it?
Yeah, $250,000 actually. We've had a lot of success stories with refinery customers, but yeah, we did it with a local supply chain partnership model, and really got inventory, specifically B7, B16, B8M material closer to the customer. Provided a point of use model and a four-tiered inventory model that provided a lot of savings. And on top of that, we made some capital investments of a production saw to cut raw bar material, B7, a chamfer machine, and a stamper. And we provided a 24/7 offering during the large major TAs, and it really provided just a tremendous amount of cost savings for the customers.
So let's say that I'm in those shoes. I'm a customer, I'm looking around. What is the value proposition of bringing in your team?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is the deliverables. I talked about everything we just did, but what does it do for the customer, right? And so it's increased revenues because it's productivity. It's more time on tools for the refinery workers and contractors. It's asset management or flow of inventory, so potential decreases in inventory, not too much, but not too little. Um, and then really decreases in expenditures, labor, expediting, things of that nature. Um, we really reduce that piece for her.
And you mentioned this before, but what is the four-tiered inventory model?
It's the local inventory presence, so point of use at the customer. It's an investment at our local facility that's close proximity, so that'd be the second tier. Third tier would be the investment of the same duplicated inventory in a regional distribution center, and then the fourth piece would be our one of our major DCs and stud cutting facilities. So.
I've heard you say this before, but what is the SAW proposition?
Yeah, the saw is a neat value proposition, a unique model, right? And an investment by us. And it really takes care of the unforeseen need in a turnaround situation. So, going into a major TA, there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of structure to it. But like any project, you get into a unit, you get into the situation, and there's this unforeseen change order or whatever it might be. And the saw lets us have a same day resource for that unforeseen need in a B7 or B16 situation, which really is a huge savings or mitigation of supply chain risk, because it's right there, and we can deliver the stud potentially in an hour versus an expedite from that'll take a day or so.
That makes sense. Yeah. So if we're talking about a TA, I believe that kitting would be a part of that. So when you're talking about kitting for a TA, what goes into that? What is all involved?
The kitting piece, or palletization in a lot of cases for a unit is really key up front. Takeoff orders are usually planned, and refinery knows what components or B7, B16 are needed in the unit. And so what we do is we offer a kit process or palletization process, and it's boxed safely, professionally, and labeled correctly, so it can be delivered to the unit for when that unit's scheduled to have maintenance on it, and the folks can grab parts and pieces, and they can find it quickly. So it's really twofold. It's point of use. It's efficient for the operators doing the work, but also the warehouse teams and the refineries don't have to take on that burden of reboxing, relabeling, or even picking or pulling products. So it's a nice system or solution.
I've heard you say that a TA is like one giant bin stock. Explain that idea to me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it can be if it's planned and established up front the correct way. But it's really the way we approach it is understanding the need of the customer and the scope of the turnaround, and establishing min max requirements and more of a point of use strategy in a connex or whatever it might be, lay down yard, and executing a schedule, a replenishment plan, and really utilizing that four tiered supply chain model we talked about to not miss a beat and have a lot of agility in the supply chain. So if there's a spike or unforeseen, again, need for a particular SKU, our supply chain tiered system has it covered.
Here's a loaded question for you. How do you remove chaos from a turnaround?
It's tough to do, I mean, it's only chaotic, just like anything. It's only chaotic if you make it that way, right?
Yeah.
And I think the biggest way to mitigate that is just really having a great plan, great process, a measurable a piece for continuous improvement, and really just defining the scope and expectations. And probably the biggest thing is just communication, right? Uh, Clear communication and updates and are very key in a turnaround. Time is money, obviously, and the expense and the importance of what's going on out there. Communication, being on top of things before they become a problem or a big deal.
Good point. How does someone get started with this? Can it be a pilot program, or does it have to be more of a tear off the band aid type of a situation?
I think it starts with the right conversation, and really understanding the current scope, current state, maybe identifying any challenges that are currently happening. Maybe there aren't any challenges currently happening, but just really understanding the current state, allowing us to understand what's the majors, what's the minors, and it can be anywhere from like you said, a smaller pilot program, a less risky maybe scope of the business, or a turnaround, or even a maintenance situation involving the B7 material to give us a shot to show the quality and supply chain excellence we can offer. So
Well, Don, I have taken enough of your time. Thanks for talking today.
I appreciate the opportunity. Have a good day.